Hello, everyone, and welcome to Slide Deck Finance. Today, I'm going to be talking about the flipping and reselling side hustle that I'm sure you're very aware of, and how to make $10,000 using this side hustle in 2022. Essentially, this video, I'm going to be talking about everything I sold in 2021, how much I paid for certain items, whether I paid for them or not, and how much I was able to profit off of this strategy. So I'm just going to do a bit of a deep dive into the different items, the different methods I used, and I'll just sort of talk about my journey in 2021 and the results I had. And then at the end, I'll give you some tips for 2022. Great. So flipping 101. Essentially, this reselling or flipping business is buying used or new items at a low price, or you're taking free and unwanted items off classified ads, and then you sell them for a profit. So you could source these from things like Marketplace, Kijiji, eBay, Craigslist, etc. And then you're selling them for a profit. Or you could go to garage sales, thrift stores, get things off the side of the curb. There's definitely a variety of methods of where you can get items from and then how you could sell them. So again, I'm going to be talking about how much I made reselling in 2021. It was not $10,000, but I think for my first year of doing this, it was pretty good, especially considering the amount of time I put into it. And then I'm going to talk about how I or any of the viewers can scale this and give some tips for turning this into a $10,000 side hustle in 2022. Okay, so the first category of items that I sold in 2021 was appliances. So all three of these appliances were for free. They're on the side of the road, and I was able to scoop them up because they're in my neighborhood, and either a family member or a friend or myself drove by them and saw it and sort of notified me, and I was able to take advantage of that before someone else came and got them. So the Whirlpool dryer, for example, was in working condition. It was about 10 minutes away from my house, and I was able to take my car, go pick it up. The homeowner actually helped load it into my car and take it away. So they knew I was taking it, and it wasn't like I was stealing or anything. But that one actually did very well. I ended up selling for $125 in very good condition. The other two, the Samsung washer and the Maytag dishwasher, both I picked up off the side of the curb, very close to my house. One of them on my street, actually, and you can see them both in my garage there when I was taking photos. They both had problems. So the Samsung washer didn't exactly drain properly, which is why I was thrown away. And then the dishwasher, I never actually tested because you're not going to take your dishwasher out of your house just to plug another one in to see if it works. So I sold both of them as is and essentially put the risk on the buyer. And because I only sold them for $50 for most people, if they're a handyman or they like taking risk, it was worth it for them. They could sort of do a few inspections from the outside and take an educated guess as to whether they think they'd be able to get the appliances working or not. So in total, did very well on appliances in 2021. Moving on, the second item I was able to resell and flip were chairs. So three different chairs here, all vary in style. As you'll notice, they don't really sell for a lot. So this foldable rocking chair was just on the curb when someone was moving out. Got it for free, and it folds up so you could literally walk away with it or put it in your car. Very lightweight, in okay shape, but not the most appealing or good looking chair. I was able to sell that one for about $15. The second one was not really in great shape. It was worn. There was a bit of rips on the arms. The wood needed a bit of polishing, but it was heavy. It was solid wood. So I figured someone who likes to do projects or wants to reupholster it and make it into something new, it'd be great for a customer like that. So I was able to get $20 for it. And someone came, took it away, and they decided they were going to reupholster it, put some new fabric on it, and make it look good. The third chair on the right, the flower chair I called it, was probably the worst out of all three of them. A little bit of a smell to it, but not too bad. I think if it got left out in the rain or there's some bad weather, then the chair definitely wouldn't be smelling too good. But it was close enough to my house. I was just able to pick it up, put it in the back of my car with the trunk open, but it wasn't too far. So I made it okay. And I got $20 for that one. And I think sort of similar to the second chair, someone probably is going to reupholster it because the fabric is a little dated and might not look the best. Or maybe they're just putting it in their garage, or they have another use for it where it might not go in, the nicest part of their house. Number three, furniture sort of goes in with the chairs, but I was able to sell this love seat in 2021, and this is probably one of the nicest free items I've ever gotten. One of my neighbors, maybe 10, 15 doors down on my street, they put this out on the curb in plastic. So it was all covered in case it rained or anything, but the couch is essentially brand new. It's obviously an old style, but it was in very good condition. So I was able to list it, and because of the condition of the couch, um, someone came and picked it up the next day, no problem. It even fit in like a Mazda 2 station wagon. So I thought that was just great because it didn't require a big pickup truck or anything. It was only a love seat. It was a lot smaller than a regular couch. Of course, I had the dimensions and everything in there to sort of, let them know it was going to fit before they came down. But yeah, because of the condition of this couch, I was able to sell it very quickly. And then on the right here, we have lamps. They were lamps from my house that my mother didn't want anymore. So instead of throwing them out, I said, let me try and list them. She said, okay. And I was able to get $10 for them. Not a lot considering it's two lamps. I'm sure we paid more than that for them, but we were going to throw them out anyways. So I figured $10 is better than nothing. Item number four is books. I have gotten into reading quite a bit over the last couple of years. So my genre is sort of the business, nonfiction, success, self-help type of genre. So I'm pretty familiar with popular titles in the space and what books are easy to resell and which ones aren't. So on the left here, I have a lot of 6 books. These are books that I had bought from thrift stores or garage sales, and I've had doubles of them, and I was just meaning to sort of sell them. And I posted a picture of all 6 of these, and someone, luckily enough, actually said how much for all 6. They offered me $45. I countered at 50, and they said, okay, fair enough. And I was able to sell them for 50. Now, the majority of these books I was able to get for around $3 or $4 from the thrift store. Some of them I got from a garage sale for like 50 cents, but in total, the book cost me around $20, $25. There might have been one or two that were a bit more, like $5 or $6, but I think in total, they cost around $25. And then, of course, like I said, I was able to get $50 for them. For the second book deal that I did, I only sold 2 books. One of them I got for $3, the other for $1. I think both from a garage sale or perhaps one of them from a thrift store. But I was able to sell a pair for 14. So the only thing with books is that it's hard to, make any significant money. I can almost always double the price I paid for a book and um, sell it for twice as much. But when you're only buying books for $3, $4, then it's kind of hard to, make significant money in books. But because I know the space and I like to read, I figure if I buy a book and it doesn't sell, then I sort of just keep it to myself. Or, I'm pretty confident that the books I do buy, I will be able to sell because I know what I'm buying. For number 5, I called this section games, toys, and collectibles. So on the left, we have some Toronto Blue Jays bobbleheads. The players were not perennial all-stars or anyone famous, so sort of thought it'd be hard to sell. And they were giveaways at a game back in 2013 or 14 or something like that. I was able to sell 2 out of the 3. Someone else collected bobbleheads and they wanted to complete their set. Normally, I wouldn't break up a set like that because it's impossible to sell the third one, and I still haven't been able to sell it. But I was offered $25 for it, and I was probably only asking $10 a piece for them. So I figured what the heck, this is the closest I'm going to get. And then I still have one last bobblehead to sell, which I could probably just discount and sell it for $5 if I really wanted. On the right here, we have a Monopoly game. It is a special edition, Research in Motion, which was the company that made BlackBerry, all the phones and whatnot. It had all the pieces. It was from a garage sale, only $3. And someone on Marketplace actually wanted it because they knew someone who was a BlackBerry fan and they thought it'd be perfect for them. So $28 was actually a lot of money to ask for this rim game. But when you go on places like eBay and whatnot, and you realize like certain versions, if you know they're in good enough condition and have all the pieces, can sell for a lot of money. So it was almost to my surprise I was able to sell this BlackBerry game for so much, but at the same time, because I paid only $3 for it, there was a good margin of safety there where I could sell it for $5-6 if I really had to and just had to get rid of it. For item number 6, there's an Old Navy jacket. I got this on Black Friday, and I paid around $13 for it, which is a very good deal considering it's a outerwear and a dress jacket. I was not expecting to pay that with shipping and tax and everything. Then I listed it on Marketplace, and again, I think a common theme is when you have items in good condition or even brand new, it's a lot easier to sell than something that's used. So when I listed this jacket and it said that it was brand new and had tags on it, there was some interest. I didn't realize $50 was going to be a price I was able to get for it, but considering jackets from other brands, would range upwards of $100, $200. I guess it made sense that someone wanted a bit of a cheaper option. So I let them try it on. They liked it. They liked the color, which, was probably why it was discounted because not everyone likes that sort of brown color in their jacket. But hey, I was able to get a good deal from Old Navy, get it new. And then I couldn't return it because it was on clearance, so they wouldn't allow refunds. But I sort of figured $13, what the heck, might as well try it. And it ended up working. Item number 7 was this iPhone 6s. This was a phone I had before I upgraded my phone. And yes, it was pink, but I always had a case on it. The condition was okay, like there was nothing wrong with it, but it did have 78% battery health, so it needed to be serviced, and the 6S didn't exactly have the best battery life. So that was something that I was pretty transparent with upfront when I was selling it. I think I bought the phone for around $150 to $200 a few years ago, used before I, ended up selling it and upgrading my phone to something newer. But then I ended up selling it for 130 on Facebook Marketplace. That included the charger that's pictured here, which cost about $5, and then a case as well. But yeah, I didn't really make money on this, you could say, because I paid more for it. But considering I used the phone for around 2 years, it really wasn't a bad loss or being able to salvage $130, I thought was more than reasonable considering how dated the iPhone 6s was at this time. Item number 8 was golf clubs. Right around in the spring, April and May of 2021, there was a big increase in golfers, and I think just COVID-19 and the pandemic really had beginners getting into golf because it was one of the few sports you could play outside. So I decided to take a look in my garage and find any old clubs and see what we had. So on the left here, we have a bunch of right-handed drivers. I listed all of them at individual price points, and I think someone picked the cheapest one I had, which was $15, and I was able to sell that one. On the right here, I have a bunch of left-handed clubs, which were mine. I got a couple of them from Canadian Tire a few years ago for about $40 altogether. And I was actually able to sell them for roughly what I paid for them, around $40. And I was kind of surprised, but I think what happened was it's very hard to find left-handed clubs. Also, Canadian Tire isn't the best quality. So to buy like good quality, brand new left-handed clubs would be very expensive. And I also paid a good price for them when I bought them online. So I was very pleased when I was able to sell about 2 of the clubs for $40 because, yeah, I basically made my money back after 7 or 8 years of using the clubs. So the last category I have here, number 9, is just a few random items. One of them is a grass seeder from Scott's Turf Builder. Got it from a moving scale for about $5, but never really used it for our lawn. And then I was able to go out and sell it for 20 right around when everyone was, doing the home improvement, building decks, sort of that season where everyone's making trips to Home Depot and people just love making, changes to their home. So when these weren't really able to be found in stores, I couldn't find any online either. And I think I sold it to a couple kids who had a lawn care company and said they couldn't find one at all. And how vital it was, to sort of do seed and not have to do it all by hand. So I thought $20 was pretty reasonable, and I made a bit of money and helped out someone's business. On the right here, this was probably one of my most recent flips. Just at the end of November, beginning of December, I was in the Salvation Army and I saw a wooden Santa Claus statue with its original box, and I sort of took it out and I said, "Oh, this is a pretty nice decoration." It looks sort of like the picture here, although this isn't the actual picture. I sort of couldn't find it when I was making this video, but I paid $20 plus tax to the Salvation Army for it. And at first I was really scared because that was a lot of money, and I didn't know if I was gonna be able to sell it. And also I had instant buyer's remorse because I started thinking people just reuse their Christmas items year after year after year. They don't buy decorations every year. Also, I was very early and premature from when Christmas actually was. However, I listed it. I sort of marketed it as that it was something that was, in great shape. It was new. I had the original box, and it was a good quality item. So I was lucky to get $40 for it. I did have an offer at $20, so I was able to just cut my losses if I wasn't able to find any other offers. But I just told the customer, "Hey, it's in this box. Come by, take a look. If you like it, you can go ahead and take it." And luckily, that's what happened. A few losses or deals that didn't go great because not every deal is going to work. On the left here, I got this carry-on luggage from the side of the road, but there was a reason was that it was on the side of the road, and that's because inside it was ripped and some of the pockets were broken. I didn't realize that. I ended up selling it for $15, and then I got an angry customer messaging me. I really don't want to waste people's time, and I felt really bad making them come down, buy something, and then realize that it didn't work. So I refunded them their money through e-transfer and just let them throw the suitcase out. But again, I really don't like people coming down, buying stuff, and then realizing that it doesn't work. But unfortunately, that's what happened a second time with this label maker. This was a flip. I bought it at the thrift store for about $6, and then I tried to sell it for 20 or $25 on Marketplace, which if everything had worked, it would have been perfect. I sold it for $20, but then some of the vowels and some of the number keys didn't work at all. And in that case, it's not worth anything. So I did the right thing. I refunded the customer their money, and I sort of just accepted the loss. The funny thing is, though, when you go to the thrift store and look at electronics, most of them don't have batteries in it. This one had batteries in it. It looked brand new. It was in great shape. And I just thought I had a winner. But then, if you sort of if I tested it a bit more diligently and I sort of just, put two and two together, there's probably a reason why it's in the thrift store. Either it's outdated technology, which I would say label makers are in decline, but in this case, it didn't work and it made its way onto the store shelves. So it was a pretty modest loss at $6. It wasn't too bad, but definitely something I learned for next time, just to be more careful with items that I buy, especially electronics. So this is essentially the summary of how I did in 2021. If we look at the first category, appliances, that made me the most amount of money. I made $225. You can sort of move down the list, and from there, the chairs and furniture also did really well. And I made some money in some other areas, and then I had a loss on the iPhone and the label maker. But I think my first takeaway from what's very interesting is items number 1 to 3, the appliances, chairs, and furniture. All of those cost me nothing, but they made me the most amount of money. So I think when you're starting out, maybe you don't want to spend a lot of money. I mean, maybe you don't have car access at all, but some of these items I was able to find literally right on my street, if not, a few streets over within my neighborhood. So I think just keeping your eyes out when you go for drives, you go for walks, and you're out in the neighborhood when it's garbage day or when people are throwing stuff out or moving, you can keep an eye on these items and you can definitely profit off them because as you can see, I've been able to do so. And I've made some decent money just from selling garbage and unwanted items. In terms of flipping and buying items for cheaper and then selling them for higher, things like books and the games and toys that I've done, you really have to pay a good low price in order to make money. For example, the Old Navy jacket, I think I got pretty lucky getting $50 for it. And I think, you know, I definitely could have paid $50 at Old Navy for this jacket, and then I wouldn't have any room to go ahead and sell the item. So I think you just have to be cognizant and aware of, how much you're paying for these items. For example, in thrift stores like Valley Village or Salvation Army or Goodwill, I've really noticed that, prices are pretty high relative to where they've been in the past because they know people are going to go ahead and sell them and make a profit off them. So sometimes clothes can be 10, 20, $25 for certain items. Although you might not be selling clothes, that's just an example where, things cost a lot and you might not think that it's reasonable. So you just really have to pick and choose things that you think are good items in good condition and are items that will sell well because not every item from a thrift store is going to sell well online. In terms of other stuff, like as you can see, I've gone through old items that I didn't need anymore, like my iPhone or like the golf clubs, and I've sort of just sold them to recoup some money. And I'm sure all of us have, just given consumer culture, we all have more than what we actually need. So if you ever need a bit of cash, it might be worth considering just to go through those items and sort of see if you can let go of anything and make a bit of money. Just shifting gears, so I'll wrap this up and then I'm going to talk about what you could do to sort of scale this to $10,000 a year in 2022. But I've managed to sell in total $752 worth of 2021, which I'm pretty impressed with. I didn't think it was going to be that much. I was thinking more in the $500 range. I didn't think my profit would be as low as it was. I guess the iPhone sort of skews that data a bit, but with the $486 profit and $750 sold and revenue, that gives me about a 65% margin, which is still pretty good. Given that a lot of the items I got for free and I was able to sell with no little to no cost. In terms of 2022 and scaling this, I think some strategies that work well. So for all the big items that I sold, including measurements and putting them in your house and taking good pictures are really helpful. People need to know if they're going to fit in their vehicles or, how big their room is and how big a couch would be, but also putting it in, your living room and making it look good and sort of giving them a visualization of what, the furniture is going to look like instead of just taking a picture in your garage, which admittedly I have done before, but it's usually better to, take good pictures and show people what it's going to look like. I think also just some basic stuff like taking a lot of pictures and being very responsive and helpful, not pushing people to buy stuff, but just making sure that you're answering their questions and sort of giving them all the available information they need. In terms of scaling this business and making $10,000, undoubtedly it'd be very hard. A lot of it is just what items can you find, if you can find things at good prices, if you can find a lot of free stuff. But I see no reason why it's not possible. I think one of the biggest items I sold this year was the dryer for $125. And I think all of the work in terms of driving there, loading it in my car, unloading it, taking pictures, listing it, and then I ended up selling it. I think all of that took like around an hour, if not less. So then in that case, you could say, well, I'm making $125 an hour, but I think a lot of these deals, the work is very minimal, just messaging people on Marketplace. And, it might take a while to sell certain items, or you might buy something and it might not be able to sell. But I think in general, these are items that move pretty quickly. So in terms of making $10,000, it's all about volume. How many items can you find that are worth selling? How much free stuff can you find that is worth selling? And then you sort of just continue to sell and sell and sell until you get to that goal. But yeah, I think given the internet and classified sites like Marketplace, Facebook is great, eBay is great for collectibles, but I think just given the internet and We all have smartphones. You don't need any professional cameras. Most people can get access to a car if they really need it. But I just think it's about using your resources, and $15 here and there might not be a lot to certain people, but as you can see from this chart here, I think it definitely adds up, and I'm very happy with the money I've made in 2021, and I'm hoping in 2022 I can scale this into a 5-figure business. So I think I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions, please let me know. But Slide Deck Finance is my new channel, so please consider subscribing and liking the video. And if you want me to talk about anything else, whether it be stocks, real estate, entrepreneurship, or just any other topics, or if you have questions about this video, please let me know in the comments below. But thank you for listening, and stay tuned for the next video.